So the final part of this section is going to be about editing your videos. This is something that's kind of an ongoing learning process. Editing trends change quite a lot, and you'll really get inspired as you watch other people's videos. At the start, your edits will probably just be cut off the intro, cut off the end to make sure it's no extra padding on either end. But as you get more into it, you might want to do some more complicated cuts. And as I mentioned earlier with lookbooks, I often do things in reverse or things with mirrors. And you might want to try some more unusual things like that. But I'm going to give you a few clues here on how to get started and some places you might want to look for inspiration. So a couple of ideas for editing techniques you might want to use are, first of all, split screen, either with two different outfits or videos on, or with the same one twice, possibly one of them mirrored, so they're sort of moving in synchronization, or you can also do a vertical split of the same thing. In iMovie, you can have 2 at a time, but in Final Cut Pro, you can have maybe 4 or 5. It depends what software you're using. Another really good one is rewind. So you can do yourself walking backwards, or you can do one forwards, one backwards, or if you're panning down an outfit, you can then rewind a little bit and go back again, almost like a DJ squeak. There's loads of really cool things you can do with that. Another one might be overlay. As I mentioned, if I'm talking about a video, I might have a clip of that video playing up in the corner, or perhaps if I'm talking about a makeup product, I can have a close-up of the product overlaid on the top, just in the corner there, which can be really nice. And you can do the same with text. In iMovie, you can use the text that they give you, but I like to import text as an image because it's a much nicer font and it's much more versatile. The text that they give you just has to be at the bottom or in the middle, whereas if you import it as an image, you can resize it, move it around, that kind of thing. So I'd really recommend creating your text as an image and then importing it into the top of the video. 2 others that I really like are repeating. So perhaps with the music, I'll include a link to one of my videos where you can see some examples of this. But it's me walking on the screen, then I walk on again, then I walk on again. It just makes it a little bit more unusual and creative. And then my favourite one of all is the kaleidoscope. There's tutorials to do this online, but essentially if you film something moving, I film normally a pattern like a floor or some flowers, film it like that, and then you lay one on top of the other so that they're mirrored, so that they're moving like this, and then you export that and import it again, and then lay that one on top of the other vertically. So then there's 4 parts all moving around. It looks really cool, it's surprisingly simple, and that's a really unusual editing technique you could try out. You might also want to try laying voiceover on top of things. So a lot of the beauty tutorials, they'll just film themselves putting on their makeup that morning, and then afterwards they'll film a voiceover saying, and now I'm using this foundation, and now I'm doing it this way. And that might be easier than you actually talking while you do it. It depends on your style.
I really love it, and I'm using my little Lancome double-ended brush just to buff it into the skin, starting in the centre so you get more coverage.
Of course, a popular thing to do is use a sort of bullet point format for your video. So the 7 things you need to know about Egypt, or the 10 favourite beauty products that you've got to try, that kind of thing. And then of course you can have the numbers coming up as you go. And it's a nice way to structure your video so that the viewer knows where they're going. And when you're doing that, I'd recommend having text coming up, as I mentioned, imported. So the first thing, number 1, the second thing, number 2, and have it coming up like that so that your viewer really knows where they're at in the process.
So the 4th tip we're going to give you is cleaning your teeth after your meal. I love this one.
A really great tool for editing your sound quality is Audacity. It's a free software, and all you do is import the sound, then zoom in really close to a part where no one is speaking. You select that part and click Effects, Noise Reduction, Get Noise Profile. And what that will mean is that it knows that quiet bit is only the white noise because there's no one talking. And then you select the whole file and click Noise Reduction, Reduce Noise, and it will take that underground background fuzz out of the whole of the video. And that's a really great way to do it if you've got some kind of rumbling in the background, or maybe your microphone's not very good quality and there's some white noise. Audacity is amazing for doing that noise reduction. I'm also going to include a downloadable of some free alternatives to Photoshop in case there's some image editing or text editing that you want to do outside of YouTube.